Welcome back inside Gillette Stadium, everybody. My name is Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist for WEEI.com, Christopher Price. All right, Chris, day 2 of the 2015 NFL Draft is in the books. Coming into the day, the Patriots had 3 picks. They wind up making just 2, trading one of their picks to the Cleveland Browns, and winding up, as it turns out, with a busy day ahead of them on Saturday, 7 picks. But first of all, let's get to the picks that they did make in round number 2, 64th pick overall. Surprised a lot of people, not because of the quality of the individual or even the talent, but where they selected him, and that is strong safety Jordan Richards out of Stanford.
A guy who a lot of people thought would have been a day 3 guy. Safety out of Stanford, smart guy, very impressive on the conference call. This is a guy, a high character guy, clearly a high character guy, a team captain, who at least initially figures to be a special teams contributor. It's going to be interesting to see how he figures into the mix there at the strong safety spot. There's a couple of different bodies. Wondering where he's going to land when you talk about a group of guys that includes Duron Harmon, Patrick Chung, Nate Ebner, Tavon Wilson, who was a name that came up when you're talking about a possible comp on a couple of levels, including the fact that they might have reached a little bit when it came to drafting him. But I'm intrigued to see him in this system. Bill talked about him just a few moments ago, talking about how you guys are really going to like him. He's a smart guy. He's a consistent guy. So it's going to be intriguing to see how he fits here in Foxborough.
For Bill Belichick to go out of his way saying we're going to enjoy a Patriot in the locker room says about all you need to know about the quality of the character of Jordan Richards out of Stanford. I think it'll be an interesting pick, but when people talk about him, they talk about a couple of things. They talk about the special teams, but they talk about him as possibly another safety in depth in terms of stopping the run. He is a box safety. What is that all about?
Yeah, he's going to be a guy who's going to be closer to the line. He's a guy who's going to be asked to help out and run support. Now, it's a wide range of jobs he's going to have, a wide range of responsibilities he's going to have if he does end up stepping in here and playing this year. We've seen guys do it with varying degrees of success here in the last couple of seasons. Guys like Patrick Chung, who are going to be asked, who has traditionally played close to the line, help out in coverage when you're talking about working against tight ends, that kind of thing. Another thing to remember when you're talking about Richards, talking about guys, he kind of checks off all the requisite box. If you're looking, all the requisite box is, if you're looking for a Patriot, not only the fact he was a captain, he's a high character guy. 21 of the last 39 picks the Patriots have made, including the first 2 picks in this year's draft, were college captains. The other thing that's important to remember about Richards, he absolutely crushed the 3-cone drill at the combine.
Why is that such a big deal?
It's about footwork. It's not so much about pure straight line speed. It's about shifting. It's about an ability to change direction very, very quickly. They look for the 3-cone drill when it comes to evaluating a lot of these prospects at the wide receiver and the defensive back position. Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Devin McCourty, all of these guys had great 3-cone times. Richards is another guy. He was 9th overall at the combine with a time under 7 seconds. That's very good.
He told us on the conference call that he considers himself very coachable, and obviously that's all the Patriots have to hear, is to hear a guy is willing to be coached, and that is certainly something that's going to help him adjust to the NFL and adjust to the NFL in Foxborough, whereas a lot is expected of first-year players. Let's move on to the other player that was indeed selected, and that is Geneo Grissom. He is a hybrid type of defensive lineman who moved inside and outside. He gives the Patriots another type of defensive lineman for depth, and some people looking at him as a Rob Ninkovich type along the defensive line.
An end-of-the-line guy, an edge rusher who can also drop into coverage a little bit as needed. Bill seemed very excited talking about him, at least as excited as you can be at midnight after a long day of working on the draft. So I'm intrigued to see him and see how he fits in this system, because he does have that versatility. We talked about Richards being able to check off a lot of those boxes when you're looking for a Patriot. Grissom is another guy who is able to do a lot of those same things, particularly when it comes to his versatility. Again, guy who can play defensive and a guy who can play linebacker. They talked about his tight end skills. He worked out as a tight end at his pro day. Not that he's going to be a tight end at the NFL level, but it's interesting. A couple people on Twitter mentioned him as a possible Vrabel-esque type of guy, and the fact that he has played some tight end. So a little versatility on both sides of the ball never hurts your chances when it comes to playing time. I
got to tell you, though, with his size, another player comes to mind in terms of an NFL current comp on this current roster, Chandler Jones, and that is because you're talking about, in Grissom, a 6'4", only 265 pounds, moves inside on the defensive line and handles himself quite well, kind of like Chandler Jones did a little bit back in 2013.
A leaner type, not a stout guy, not a guy who might be more of a Ninkovich type. I know they made that the Ninkovich comparison, I think, on some level of work, but if you're just talking about pure body type, Chandler is that longer, leaner type. I think Grissom is that same kind of guy when you're looking about sticking a guy at the end of the line, a guy who can help out when it comes to getting a chip on some of those tight ends who are releasing into the secondary, but at the same time showing an ability to get after the quarterback.
What do you tell fans who are going nuts on Twitter? The Patriots didn't take a corner, and they did not build up their offensive line. Is this a message that Cameron Fleming is rated a lot higher inside the walls here in Gillette Stadium than a lot of people might think?
Well, I think there are 2 points here. First of all, when you're talking about the offensive line, this is, I think, the 16th consecutive draft that Bill Belichick has made where he has not selected a collegiate interior offensive lineman.
Wow.
Logan Mankins was the closest guy. He played tackle over the course of his career at Fresno State. They kicked him inside the guard. He had a very successful career over the course of his time here in New England. So again, we don't know a lot. There are not a lot of positive, not so much positives, but there are not a lot of things that you can take to the bank. Definitives, exactly.
Right.
There are not a lot of definitives when you're talking about the Patriots and their draft approach, but that is clearly becoming something that you should look for year after year. The other thing, as it relates to the cornerback position, I think here in New England, there is a knee-jerk reaction when Patriots lose a guy, they feel like they need to replace a guy specifically at that position.
And immediately.
Exactly, immediately. What the Patriots decided to do here, clearly, none of the cornerbacks fit their system. Over the course of the first 3 rounds, they were confident that there was no Revis Light out there who they could take in the first round, plug him in, and have him be the #1 cornerback in the system. So what do? They've decided to go out 2 of the first 3 picks, defensive line guys who have an ability to get home. That, in addition to the fact that they re-signed Alan Branch, they bought Jabal Shearding here, suggests to me that they're changing their defensive focus a little bit.
Right.
They're not so much going to be a team that invests so much on the back end, the cornerbacks. They're going to be a team that's going to invest heavily up front, group of guys who can really cave in the pocket, create some havoc, and get after the quarterback.
And I got to figure, certainly with 7 picks on the deck in day number 3 of this 2015 NFL draft, the Patriots will have more than ample opportunity to fulfill a lot of those needs. Do you think they take all those picks or move some of them?
I think they move some of them around. I find it hard to believe that they would go into next year, or they would go in. They have 75 guys in the roster coming into this draft, and that would make 10 picks. They would have 85 guys in the roster and only 5 spots for undrafted free agents. For a team that treasures their undrafted free agents as much as the Patriots do, I find it hard to believe that they would leave themselves that little flexibility when it comes to signing those guys. They love those guys. The Ryan Wendells, the Dan Conleys, the Malcolm Butlers. Those are the guys who make up a large part of this team. I can't believe they would allow themselves to be so shorthanded going into that stage of the team building process.
It'll be a fascinating storyline to follow here at Gillette Stadium on Saturday as the Patriots have 7 picks to finish out the 2015 draft. Follow all the coverage on WEEI.com. Christopher Price, I'm Mike Petraglia inside Gillette Stadium, WEEI.com.